No one on that busy street in Makati noticed the quiet American man standing in line, holding a small envelope with worn edges. They saw simple clothes. They saw tired shoes. They saw a foreigner who looked like he was barely getting by. What they didn't see was that the man they ignored was worth over $3.8 billion. His name was Jonathan Hale, and he was about to fall in love with a woman who would reject him because she thought he was poor. But before we go deeper into this story, take a second to like this video. Stories like this deserve to be heard. Comment 444 below and tell me where you're watching from, and subscribe so you never miss powerful stories like this. Jonathan Hale built one of the largest logistics companies in North America before he turned 43. Private jets, luxury penthouses, investments across 3 continents. He had everything money could buy, except something real. Every relationship he had felt staged. Every smile felt calculated. Every conversation slowly turned into business. He started asking himself a question he couldn't escape. If I had nothing, who would stay? That question haunted him, so he did something no one in his boardroom would ever understand. He stepped away. No press announcement, no media coverage, no explanation. He left New York quietly and flew to the Philippines. Not to invest, not to expand business, but to disappear. He rented a small room in Quezon City under a different name, James Carter. No penthouse, no assistants, no luxury cars. Just a small fan, thin walls, and the sound of jeepneys passing at night. The first week humbled him. He waited in lines. He counted small bills. He rode public transportation squeezed between strangers. And for the first time in years, nobody treated him differently. That was when he met her. Her name was Alyssa Ramos. She worked as a marketing assistant at a small local company in Makati. They met by accident. Jonathan had applied for a temporary office assistant position at a small branch office connected to one of his own subsidiary companies, though nobody there knew who he really was. Alyssa noticed him because he didn't fit in. He was older than most applicants, quieter, more observant. They started talking during lunch breaks. She told him about her dreams. She wanted stability, security, a man who could provide. She had grown up watching her mother struggle after her father left. Love is important, she once told him, but security is everything. Jonathan listened carefully. He didn't tell her he could buy the entire building they worked in. He didn't tell her he owned companies that paid salaries higher than her bosses. He simply listened. Weeks turned into months. They shared coffee, walked after work, talked about life. Jonathan found himself looking forward to seeing her more than he ever looked forward to closing billion-dollar deals. He began falling in love. One evening he gathered the courage to tell her. "I like you," he said softly. Alyssa looked at him carefully. "You're kind," she said, "but I need someone stable." The word hit him harder than she knew. "I'm trying," he replied. She shook her head gently. "I don't want to build from zero again. I've seen what poverty does. I can't risk my future on uncertainty." She wasn't cruel, she was practical, but to Jonathan it felt like rejection wrapped in logic. That night he walked home through Manila's crowded streets replaying her words. He had asked for honesty, and he got it. A few days later, something unexpected happened. Jonathan's CFO flew into Manila urgently. There had been a major issue with one of his global contracts. He insisted on meeting immediately. They met at a luxury hotel lobby. Alyssa happened to be there that same afternoon, attending a small marketing seminar hosted in the hotel conference hall. She stepped out for coffee, and that's when she saw him. Jonathan. dressed sharply in a tailored suit, standing beside foreign executives, his CFO speaking to him with visible respect, hotel staff greeting him formally. She froze. She heard one of the executives say clearly, "Mr. Hale, we can't finalize the merger without your approval." Mr. Hale. Her heart dropped. That night she searched his name online. Jonathan Hale, founder, CEO, net worth $3.8 billion, magazine covers, global conferences, philanthropy foundations. The man she rejected because he seemed unstable. The next morning she went to the small office early. Jonathan was already there. She walked up slowly. "Who are you?" she asked quietly. He looked at her. This time there was no hiding. "My name is Jonathan Hale." Silence filled the room. "You lied to me," she whispered. "I didn't lie," he replied softly. "I just didn't lead with money." Tears filled her eyes. "You let me think you had nothing." "I needed to know," he said, "if someone could choose me without seeing the numbers." Her voice trembled. "You think I rejected you because you're poor? You said you needed security." "I needed honesty," she replied. That sentence cut deeper than anything she said before. He realized something painful. He had tested her without telling her she was being tested. And love is not an exam. It's a choice. For days they avoided each other. Jonathan considered leaving Manila, returning to his empire, closing this chapter. But something inside him refused. He went to see her one last time. "No excuses," he said. "I should have trusted you enough to tell you the truth." She looked at him differently now, not as a poor man, not as a billionaire, but as someone flawed. "You were afraid," she said quietly. "Yes, so was I," she admitted. They both stood there in silence. "I rejected you because I was scared of struggling again," she continued, "but you hid the truth because you were scared of being used. Two fears, one misunderstanding." He stepped closer. "If we try again," he said, "it won't be built on secrets." She nodded slowly. "And it won't be built on fear." Months later, Jonathan restructured parts of his company. He created business mentorship programs in Manila for young professionals who feared financial instability. Not for headlines, not for publicity, but because he understood something deeper now. True security isn't just money, it's trust. One evening, standing at Manila Bay, watching the sun melt into the ocean, he looked at Alyssa and smiled. "I thought being rejected for being poor would hurt the most," he said. She squeezed his hand gently, "But pretending to be someone else hurt more." He nodded. In losing his mask, he found honesty. In being rejected, he found truth. And in the Philippines, a billionaire learned something no boardroom could teach him. Love cannot grow in deception. It must be chosen freely, not for wealth, not for status, but for the person standing in front of you. And that lesson was worth far more than $3.8 billion. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, like the video and share it with someone who believes in true love. Subscribe for more powerful stories.